start doing this. Just going.
Well, we're on. Let's go, man.
We're going.
You're on.
Brent
You're
Abel,
doing the intro.
Brent Abel, is that you?
God.
Because I'm not sure. Because you're in Texas.
Yeah, I'm in Texas. I'm not in Big D. I'm in Big H.
Big H.
Big H. Big H.
We'll let the audience interpret that.
Yeah, Houston
So
Oilers.
You're down there playing the National Indoor 70s, right? Cat 1?
Cat 1, 70 singles, doubles.
Indoors, right?
Indoors, they also, and of course, they promised us last year the lights would be changed. There'd be brand new lights this year.
I'm going to guess by your tone that didn't happen.
You're very perceptive. So, well, yeah. So
I am a teaching professional, which is like tennis pro, teaching professional / bartender / psychologist / whatever. Add anything else on that list, right?
I'd say life coach. Well, maybe the life coach thing is a little funky.
Anyway,
but, so I'm here in Houston. It's I don't know, what are we now? 8 o'clock at night here.
Yeah,
and
so it's a big night for you.
Well, yeah, it's either hanging out with you doing this, or else going to bars down here in Texas. And I forgot to bring my line dancing boots, and so I can't go out. I just can't do it. No,
you can't line dance in sneakers, buddy.
No.
Can't do it.
Line dancing in Nikes is.
No, you get your ass kicked if you do that.
Boy, do you ever. Yeah. Hi, I'm a tennis player. Hi.
All right, so here's a question for you. Here's the thought process. Give me your top 3 teaching phrases that you no longer use.
Top 3?
Yeah, give me 3. All right, let's just start with 1.
I could go with 10.
Okay, well, let's just, we don't have, we're not going to go for an hour and a half here. Okay. Actually 10 would be like 10 hours, but.
Okay.
So give me your number 1.
Racket back.
Ooh. I'm in concert with you there. Yes, I agree with you 1,000%. So now
racket
tell me why.
Back. Well, because it's not very precise as to where you should put the racket back. And it doesn't have any relation to the rest of your body in terms of how you want to prepare to set up to hit, let's say in a forehand, for example. So I've got an old buddy of mine. He doesn't play tennis anymore. I think he developed this huge thing right here on his arm, because he used to literally go racket back. He would still face the net, and he'd go racket back for his forehand. And this one's going to remain nameless because it could get hairy if I named him.
Yeah, no, don't do it. All the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
That's right, or the guilty. So anyway, so racket back, really. And look, this was a cliche that I just heard way back when in the 50s or 60s. I mean, I think I had my first teaching job at John Gardner's Tennis Ranch when I was a junior counselor. Right. I was 16 years old, and that's a whole other story right there. But I'd be listening, Mr. Gardner, I want to learn how to teach tennis. Okay, well, why don't you go clean the toilets for the first 2 weeks? And gosh, I'm actually telling that story.
Okay.
So I didn't really
racket back. Okay.
I didn't really learn much about teaching. But one of the things I kind of heard was, stick your racket back. All right, so I tried teaching racket back. I tried playing with racket back, but it really didn't have any connection to the rest of the setup. So that one I don't use anymore.
What do you use? What do you use instead?
Well, I really don't. I know that you like the term unit turn, and that is a very popular term. I know that you use.
I've evolved from that. I mean, first initially, not unit turn. I just use the term turn.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
turn to prep. That was my evolution. Now I use another terminology that but
framework.
Yeah, framework.
So what I try to get them to think about is that we're trying to put ourselves into a hitting position.
Right.
Right? And so it's not like there are all these disjointed body parts working. And so I'll just demonstrate it. I'll just show them. I'll say to get into the forehand hitting position, here's what it looks like. And I'll turn the
Right.
framework, and the racket will kind of go to a spot that's not still in front. So I'll show them that. And so I try to do less talking about words or phrases that really, first
Right.
of all, are not accurate. I mean, are not very precise. They don't
Right.
really describe. So if it's something that I couldn't explain to someone if they weren't there on the court. I mean, racket back, you could tell someone's not in the court over the hey
Right.
Brent, over the phone. How do I hit a forehand? Well, first of all, you got to go racket back. Well, how do they know what that means?
Right. And normally, I mean, obviously that terminology can create that the disconnect between the arm and the body. So
That's
that
right.
the arm all of a sudden is working independently of the core, the shoulders, everything, and obviously the stroke being generated from the ground up. So that for me was the big thing. And I kind of felt like, where I was in my teaching career, that we were teaching turn to prep and turn to hit way before it became, a popular thing. And then when we had at the time, no access to internet and all that stuff. So we were just doing our own thing, up here in the Napa Valley at Silverado.
You guys were
so
crazy up there, all the stuff going on up there in Napa Valley.
Oh, of course. Yes.
So, all right. So that's thing one. I would say thing two is hit out in front.
Yeah, bingo. I'm with you on that one too.
So again, what is out in front? I mean, if you actually get turned, is out in front towards the net, or is out in front literally, out in front to where you're facing?
Of you.
Of me.
Yeah.
I mean, we are talking about me out in front, right? So.
Right.
I used to, so first of all, the racket would be back. There wouldn't be any turn, and then they'd just be sort of, flopping the thing forward, and there was no real good form going on. And then I think, God, there's so many things. I mean, one of the things I don't say anymore on the serve is to snap your wrist.
Ooh, no, yeah.
Up, in the serve, only because to me, if you're relaxed as you go up and you're sort of getting natural swing speed because you've got the right setup and you got the right tossing motion, finish position, and again, you're in the good hitting position for the serve. If we put you in the right hitting position and you're relaxed in the arm, it just naturally comes out with a lot of racket speed through the ball. So to me, snapping meant, well, I need to get strong, and snap. And now maybe this is another reason this guy who made the thing was out to here.
Yeah, the mechanical process of snapping the wrist, right? Yeah. I mean, it's because I think too the interpretation of that again gets muddled, where people think snapping is this.
Could be that way, right?
Right, and that obviously that it's not what's actually going on, and so I use the term, and this is for you, Erica. I use the term sloppy. I want your hand to feel sloppy almost as you come through the serve, and don't try and hit hard. Just get a feel for what that does, and let's see what the racket does. Yeah. So I like them to kind of discover that a little bit on their own.
Yeah. Well, that's and actually where I kind of got the feeling of what it's like without having to force a snap was working with Barry McKay. He actually hired me to do a little teaching, and he was sort of telling me about the serve one day, and I was I was really kind of forcing it up on top.
Right.
And he said, look, and he said, stick your little finger underneath the butt of the racket, so you've got your hand way down. And as tight as I tried to squeeze it, there was just no strength with this thing kind of hanging off. And all of a sudden, I just kind of felt this natural release up on top.
Right.
And he said, all right, now you can put you can put the pinky kind of maybe halfway off, but just try to get that feeling. And And that really helped me a lot. So those are the three things that come to mind off that. I mean, you really kind of did put me in the hot seat on this one, Jeff. And I was
that three things we got? Oh yeah, it was. Okay.
We got the racket back, we got the hit out
three.
in front, and I could go with the volley, which is, let's play let's play it out in front. And I've already told you that story about
Well, I think the other one too is is punch it.
Oh God.
So let's not start that discussion, okay?
Yeah. Right. No, that one's.
So I found in look,
go back to punch it because because,
I struck a nerve.
Well, look, I mean, I would hear other teaching pros go, just punch the volley, and I go, punching. What is punching? I mean, isn't punching throwing a punch?
Yeah.
So
and that actually requires a different arm movement actually than punching.
I just never said, well, what's the grip on a tennis racket where you can go, boom,
right,
and actually hit a volley like that? And I said, I don't see the guys in the tour doing this. I see them actually kind of, a little carving a little bit,
right.
So punching, I don't think I ever used punch. Maybe once or twice. I said, forget it. That's stupid, because they go, you mean like this? I go, yeah, you're right. That's dumb. Well, forget it.
Yeah, the evolution of that kind of becomes they end up pushing the racket through the contact point, And
right.
so, I found, in my evolution of coaching and teaching that, and I've said this before, I think in other podcasts, that I change the language if the person I know I'm teaching has 5, 10, 15 years or more of lessons under their belt, because I know they've heard this terminology over and over and over again, and they have a acid etched, carved in stone definition.
Let me write that down. Hold on. Acid etched. Oh my God, that is so. Now, that's like the opposite of what we're talking about. That's so descriptive.
Right.
It's not like a teaching cliche.
Okay. Because the student has such a defined definition of what that term means to them. And so for me, I look at that and I listen and I watch, and this is part of, the evolution of a teaching pro. Are you listening to how your student understands the terminology you're using?
Yeah.
This is big, because what you're trying to do, if you use the same terminology and you're trying to redefine it, that can become a huge stumbling block for your student. And so what I've found that works best is to change the terminology. Rather than wasting time trying to get their subconscious and their mind to redefine a word, to untie that knot is unbelievably hard. I just move on to a different word and I redefine, and so I define it. No, I don't want you to, hit the ball in front. I want you to hit the ball next to you, or whatever terminology I'm using at the moment, to get them to understand that we're not using that term anymore. We're using this, and this is what that means.
Yeah, no, that's good.
And I found that works quicker, actually, to get the person to move past their stumbling block, whatever that might be. If they're,
Well, I've talked a lot about how much Mr. Stowe helped me with my game, and he gets all the credit. There's no, you get some, but.
Well, I'm just here to remind you. That's all. I take an occasional video and I go, right. Brenny, we got to talk, dude, and that's all it is. Because I'm a Stowe disciple once removed.
That's right. Well, that's right.
Where my whole junior, evolution, I heard the word turn millions of times.
Yeah.
Understanding what that meant to hitting the ball,
Well, he, when I first went up there, one of the things he did is he asked me kind of like, well, what sports have you played? And I've been playing tennis forever when I saw him, right? I was like, I lied to him. I told him I was 27 or something. I was really 32, I think, 33. Anyway, I didn't think he'd take me on if he knew I was in my 30s. But anyway, but he just said, well, what other sports have you played? And I said, well, I just played baseball as a kid. That was my deal. And So from day one, he started explaining tennis to me in baseball terms or in other sport terms. I mean, and so there was, and what I loved is it was like a completely different language. There was none of this, well, because
Right.
I'm Tom Stowe and I say racket back, that must mean something different. I must
Right.
know how to say racket back in a way that I can create the Don Budge, you know?
Right.
So people go, oh, you mean racket back?
Oh, that racket back.
That one. He never used any of that stuff, ever. He never
Yeah.
ever said racket back. He never ever said hit out in front. He would, he used a lot of baseball stuff with me. He used a lot of boxing stuff,
Yeah.
not on the volley. But,
Right. Golf as well, right?
well, that's where he learned how to teach tennis.
Right.
So at the time when he graduated from Cal, and then he decided that he wanted to teach tennis to the masses. And at the time, darn near 100 years ago, there wasn't, back in the 30s, there really wasn't much tennis technique that was kind of
Right.
a system.
A methodology.
Yeah.
Right. A methodology. Right.
So I think he spent a lot of time at the Claremont Country Club in Oakland, and he studied the golf pros. And he saw how they were teaching biomechanics, which had
Right.
never really sort of been taught too much in tennis. And so he took a lot of the golf stuff, he applied it, because he saw how it worked in the top players. He saw how that worked in the top players, that they just did it naturally.
Right.
And I just never ever heard the stuff that I somehow decided to teach for a while. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of. I mean, the boxing thing was interesting. It was always like, it was always, with Stowe and I think with your guy Giuseppe.
Yeah. Giuseppe. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
about footwork.
Well, it was about footwork, but it was also taking the ball at a spot where your body got to be a part of it.
Right.
So the
right.
way that Tom would talk about it, he says, boxers can flick and jab all day long, and you can hit a guy a bunch of times, but hey, as soon as you get inside in the body, that guy's going down. And so
Right.
he used to say, look, this is not about flicking little jabs, flicking the hand at the ball. You got to get your body involved. So
Right. Right.
and then he used to always
Exactly.
talk about kind of the return to serve. He said your position on return to serve, this is the way he explained it to me, was it's like you're a linebacker. And Anthony Dorsett, I'm sorry, it used to be Tony
Right.
Dorsett until he went Hollywood. Anthony Dorsett. Let's go with Anthony Dorsett, broke through that line, and now it's up to you to be able to stop him. So what's that posture? What's that position that you've got to be in? You don't know if he's going right or you don't know if he's going left. And he
Right.
said, and then of course he would, I'm sure Giuseppe did the same thing too. He would walk up behind me as someone was serving to me and just tap me on my back. And of course I was already upper body too far forward, and I kind of go
Right.
stumbling forward. And
Right.
and so
Yeah, and that's for me where the boxing came into it, was about the platform you're working off of, that it's stable, it's solid, and so if you're going to throw that punch, that knockout, that you don't do that out off your feet, and you don't do that outside your range.
Right.
You don't do that with just your hand.
yeah.
It is from the ground up. You are solid as a rock on the ground, and you are involved. Your whole body's involved.
Yeah.
In it. So,
Yeah.
good stuff, man.
All right. Well,
Good stuff.
you came up with the topic for tonight, Jeff. I think you get a big gold star for that one.
Oh boy. Okay.
All right, guys. Listen, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. What's next? Well, we're still offering the free coaching call, 10-minute coaching call. We'd love to get you on. Again, it's free. It's on us. It's 10 minutes. We just get in the phone. It's a private call, the three of us. And just bring that one thing in your game right now that you're struggling with, that you want to get figured out for next Wednesday night when you go out with the fellas. And all of a sudden you're showing this thing and they're going, what happened? What happened? Well,
Who are you?
Did this little coaching call with the guys, and here I am. Anyway, so to get on that call, just goldballhunting.com, put in your first name and your email address, and you'll get dropped into our online calendar scheduler. And if you're already on our email list, just at the bottom of any emails you get from us, there is a link that will take you to that scheduler. You can cherry pick your own date and time. So, man, this is really, you got no excuse not to do this. I mean, it's free. It's 10 minutes. Now, here's one caveat to that thing about being free, okay? There's a chance after 10 minutes that we're going to give you something good that you're going to be going on the tour.
Yeah.
And what's the prize money? What's the prize money cut? Is it 50-50 or is it?
No, we're 60-40.
We're 60, they're 40 if we put them on the tour.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the deal. If you want to get in the call and just negotiate it, that's the one thing holding you back, then you can negotiate those numbers. All right, man. This is the time of every podcast where it's no longer about them.
No,
it's about us. About us.
Yeah.
We need some love from you guys. Seriously, we need some love. We want to spread our message to as many tennis players out there as possible. So, Jeffrey, in your most non-salesy but convincing way, what do we want the folks to do?
Like us, share us, please subscribe. Let us know what you think down below. I'm going to go back to subscribe though. We're on the cusp of 200 subscribers. Come on. Get us over the hump. You can do it. Get together with your friends, call each other, make it a phone chain, and push us over the hump.
Yeah.
You can do it.
That's right. Hey, we're just starting with this thing, right? So 200 might sound like a small number, but you got to start somewhere.
Hey,
right?
The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step, baby.
Boom, ba boom, ba boom, right there. All right, we got to check out of this thing, guys. Get out there today. Help someone else have a great day. And Jeff, let's do this again tomorrow.
I cannot wait.